Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you know when the newest episode is available. Now let the show begin. Hello, all listeners and watchers. You have tuned into this week's episode of Movies and Random. Shut your mouth. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, and feel free to let us know what you think in the comment section. This is season 1 and our second episode number 2. I'm your host, Ron T, along with my longtime friends, E-Rock, Rod P, and Shay Z. And Show Enough is not going to be here today. You know, we're going to give him a shout out. He's celebrating his anniversary. So we already know what that means. He ain't gonna have time for us right now. So you'll see him in the next episode. We're here to give you movie reviews first and foremost, and save you from wasting time searching for something good to watch. Not to mention, you'll also get our perspectives and opinions on all the random things in this crazy world we live in. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first movie on our list is titled Project Power. Now, the release date for this was August 14th, 2020. You can go watch this on Netflix. And the main actors in this movie is Jamie Foxx, who plays the character of Art, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who plays the character of Frank, and Dominique Fishback, who plays the character of Robin. The director is Henry Juice and Ariel Schulman. The location is New Orleans, Louisiana, and the setting is New Orleans of 2020. So this movie is about a pill that gives people superhuman powers for 5 minutes. And Art, our main character, is trying to find his daughter, and an unlikely partnership between a New Orleans cop and a high school teenager are trying to stop the drug from spreading to the world, because there will be consequences if it does spread. And that's pretty much how that movie goes. So without belaboring the point and giving away too much of the movie, let's go ahead and review this movie and tell everybody what you think. And we're going to start off with E-Rock. Go for it, E-Rock. What do you think about Project Power?
The movie was dope. I loved it. To be honest with you, it was one of those movies, after I saw it the first time, I was like, I can definitely see myself watching this again a couple of times. Because I know lately with movies, I watch them one time and I really don't really care for seeing them again unless, somebody else wants to watch them. But this is definitely a movie that you can watch over and over and have just as much fun watching it the second and third time as you did the first time. It kind of put me in the mind frame of X-Men when I watched it. The special effects were awesome. The storyline was great. I also liked how they developed the characters as well too. So that was a good plus. And overall, you have great actors, Jamie Foxx, what's his name? Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Is that his name? Levitt?
That's his name.
Yeah. He did really good. The girl that was a newcomer, she was excellent. And the only thing really I could say that I didn't like about it was I kind of wish they probably focused more on Jamie Foxx's powers a little bit. They really didn't get into it as much until kind of towards the end of the movie. But other than that, I really don't have much to say that was bad about it. So in my mind, I'm going to give it 4.5 movie reels.
All right.
It's 5, because 5 is, that's really got to be up there. That's kind of like the Godfather type level, things like that. But definitely, I would say 4.5.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we're going to go with Rod P. Tell us what you thought of Project Power.
So I agree with E-Rock. It gave you that X-Men feel just because of some of the things that you see in the movie. Special effects were nice. I give them that. But that's what my issue was. If I want to watch X-Men, I want to watch X-Men. I don't want to sit here and watch people I don't know. I mean, so for example, there's a guy in the movie by the name of Machine Gun Kelly. Let me tell you something.
MGK.
MGK sucks as a rapper and equally so as an actor.
I disagree on both fronts.
Okay. The only reason why you disagreeing with me, Ron,
here he goes. I know where you going. Whatever. That ain't why. That ain't why.
He ain't had a hit since Wild Boy.
Just because you don't have a hit don't make you a bad rapper.
Hey, Ron, let me tell you something. I was up at 3 a.m. one morning flipping channels. And what do I stumble across? The Adult Film Industry Awards. And guess who was performing at this event? Machine Gun Kelly. That ought to tell you how far he's sunk in the industry. But back to this movie.
That don't mean he's not a good artist. But okay, that's beside the point. Yeah, we can talk about that off camera. Go ahead, because you got your mind. Back to this
movie. So, do I feel the young lady in the movie, her character Robin? I thought for someone who's new on the scene, she did a good job. Jamie Foxx, you come to expect a certain level from him. Ever since, he's done Ray and everything else, you kind of expect a certain level from him. I thought he hit on the level that, I'm accustomed to seeing. I think Jamie Foxx, when he comes out with a movie, Jamie Foxx is supposed to be like, okay, I need to watch this because Jamie's going to give me an Oscar performance. That's how I look at Jamie Foxx now. I expect Oscar-worthy performances. Did he give me an Oscar in this performance? No. But was it piss poor? Absolutely not. Me personally, I was kind of bored with the movie because it was too X-Men like. And it seemed to start, as it progressed for me, I started to put the pieces of the puzzle together and the movie got boring to me. That's just me though. So if I give this thing a rating, I'm giving it, because I'm going to say this, because of the young lady and her job that she did, I'm going to give it a 3. Initially, I had it down as a 2.5. My opinion.
So we're giving it a 3, correct?
3.
All right. Well, with that said, you heard the wow from the man Shay Z, so he's gonna give you his opinion. Go ahead, Shay. You got the mic.
All right. I'm gonna disagree with you, Rob T. I think the movie was actually pretty good, according to what E-Rock said. The plot was good in terms of how they set it up as a superhero movie, and I can understand, if you're very, very huge, big fan of X-Men and all that, it kind of takes away that effect. So I can understand that part, but I do understand, and I like how the director set up the movie. The location, New Orleans, was a perfect location for this type of movie. And I like the new characters. If you're an X-Men fan, if you're a superhero fan, you would like this movie. That's the way I saw it. So I like the development of the characters, especially Dominique Fishback. She did superb in this movie. I was really bobbing my head left and right, watching how she was spinning those rhymes. It was pretty. She made it believable that she sold me on that role. So for me, that was really excellent that she did. Jamie Foxx did an excellent job. Joseph Gordon-Levitt did a pretty good job as well. There was chemistry between the characters. They were very excellent. I think if you go to watch this movie, if you're a huge fan of sci-fi, action, superhero, or a combination of all those three, you're gonna love that movie. I was born in New Orleans, Lafayette, Louisiana, so it was a way of me going back home as well, just watching it. And I appreciated the film being located in New Orleans. So I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 reels for the movie because I can watch it over and over again.
Okay, all right. That is interesting how everything turned out. All right, so everybody went drastic one way or the other, but all in all, still been a good movie. Before I give my rating, let me remind the viewers that our ratings we put them in the forms of reels, movie reels. So when you hear us give a 1 to 5, 5 being the absolute best, 1 being the worst. So you can have 1 movie reel or 5 movie reels. Once we have given all of our ratings, we'll take the average of that movie, and any movie with 3 movie reels or more will get a golden clock, which means it's worth your time. If you have below a 3 on average, then you will get a broken gray clock, which is it's not worth your time. So we're trying to save you the time. So I just want to let you know that's what it's about. So let me give you my particular review. What stood out about this movie is the different take on the superhero genre. I like the 5-minute limit that each person got, and the fact that you didn't know what power you would get. I thought that was really fresh. The side effects that can come taking the drug was really good too. I can't get into anything outside of that. You guys got to watch the movie. But that told me that there was no shortcuts. The special effects were great, and Jamie Foxx character, no nonsense attitude. And once again, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. That was a breath of fresh air. I hate characters who talk too much when they got to get through stuff. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to negotiate with you. Let's go. And I appreciate that about his character. Where the movie failed is that it was a mediocre attempt to cover the background stories of all the characters. They did it through flashbacks and one-time conversations, so you can miss some details quite easily. I love the fact that they showed a Black female teenager who was smart, but I believe that they overdid it. Some of the stuff she picked up on way too quick without explaining if she had any powers or anything. It just didn't make no sense to me. So that was too what's the word I'm looking for? That was just too over the top for me. And I didn't like the rapper angle.
Go ahead.
Sorry
to cut you off. Was that when she was in the classroom? I don't want to get too much details, but is that
no on the ship. Okay, you gave me no background that you even knew about that, and all of a sudden you could figure all that stuff out just the first time.
Okay,
I'm like,
gotcha.
We never knew if she was genius level or anything, so that was like, yeah, it's over the top to me. I want you to be smart, but I want you to be realistic smart, unless it says in your character, "Hey, you're a genius," explicitly.
You're talking about Robin, or you're talking about the other teenager?
I'm talking about Robin, the teenage girl. Yeah. I didn't like the rapper angle. It's stereotypical. I love the fact that we had a lot of Black actors. Obviously, it's in Louisiana. You should show that. But let's do something else. Let her be trying to be an engineer or something. Why always got to be a rapper? I'm tired of that. We can do better. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's been done.
I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain point, but I also differ from it. But we can talk about it. I'll let you finish.
Okay. A fun fact about this movie is that both Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt played roles in superhero movies. Jamie Foxx was Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in The Dark Knight Rises. So they both had that background experience coming into it. My rating is 3 reels. Like I said, the things that were over the top, it made the movie, because they didn't go in enough detail, it was just a very average movie to me. It was worth watching, but it wasn't like, it didn't blow me away. Okay. So that's what I leave it with. So for that, our overall score, if I put it on average, is hold on one second. Let me add it up for you. It becomes a 3.75. Now that may skew one way or the other when we have everybody, the whole cast, but between us, 3.75, which means it gets the golden clock and it is worth your time. So go ahead and go check it out if you haven't already. And I know Shay Z wants to debate with me about this, what he didn't like about the rapper thing. So
before y'all debate that, I want it on record that it is barely worth your time.
$3.75 is a pretty good deal. I mean, that's
it's a pretty good
That's
deal.
on the skin of the teeth.
But it's a pretty good
now
deal
other person,
for movies.
You would
For
wear
movies.
other.
For movies these days, that's a pretty good deal because, like Eric said, if you're not watching Godfather and all that kind of stuff over and over again, it's hard to get a lot of movies to be consistently like that. So 3.5 for Project Power, trust me, it is worth your while, even if it's bare. It doesn't matter. I agree with the 3.75 rating, but on average, but it just means that you can go ahead and watch it and probably even watch it one or two more times before you're done with it.
Let me say this. One thing going back to what Rod was saying about he was a little disappointed because he didn't get that Oscar performance from Jamie Foxx. I would say I like the fact that you have these big name actors that are willing to do these movies like on Netflix. So when I noticed that he was on a Netflix movie, immediately I wasn't really expecting some knock it out of the park performance. But I just like the fact that we're able to get these type of movies, straight to consumers at home through Netflix or whatever other streaming platforms, that they're good quality movies with good actors. So I see what you're saying, Rod, but at the same time, I wasn't really expecting him to be like, really just like, oh, wow, he's going to get nominated for this because it was, a Netflix movie.
But I don't understand what y'all criteria is for great acting, because I think for his character, he did a great job. Like, he was believable.
Exactly.
He acted like somebody who literally was in that situation to me. I think he did exactly what he was expected to do.
Exactly. Everything
well,
that he did in that
see
role.
What you're saying. It's like certain people you kind of expect. Well, that's why I said I didn't really expect that from Jamie Foxx, because in my opinion, he's done what? 2 movies where he did Ray, and what else did he do? That he was really, he did that.
Ray is what he got the Oscar for.
Where he was homeless.
Yeah, but I think in Hollywood, just because someone gets an Oscar in a movie doesn't necessarily mean that every movie he has to have an Oscar performance. Or
why not?
You think is a well? Here's my explanation. A great performance doesn't always have to be an Oscar criteria. So
let me rephrase what I said.
But you have to define what your criteria is, because all the people that win Oscar, with the exception of one time, is a dramatic movie. Like, that's the only movie or the only types of movies where people show their acting chops. And I think that's bias in and of itself.
Is it wrong for me to want to see, if I want to see a Joe Schmo actor, I'll go back to our first episode and rewatch the one movie with
right.
No, so for me, Rod, I think we may be putting too much emphasis on Oscar performance for a movie.
Don't bow down that week. That's weak because make him defend his position. Because the problem is that you're saying, well, why shouldn't I expect it? You should expect it. But tell me how he didn't.
I don't expect it based on.
But why didn't he give that performance? What is an Oscar performance to you? Because he did a great job to me.
Exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. Because to me, what it sounds like you said is that you were looking for some dramatic performance, but that's not that kind of a movie. It's not a dramatic movie. It's a superhero movie.
I didn't say he didn't do a great job. I just say I got a certain level that I hold.
I get it.
So what does that mean? What does that mean?
So be specific. Like, what level did he reach in this type of a movie?
For me, I just couldn't take it serious.
It's a superhero movie. No, you can't take it serious. That's why.
Bro, his character. We can't go too deep without giving away the movie.
Well,
his character was believable. His character was believable.
Let me say this. I actually don't hold Jamie Foxx to that level. To me, there's a handful of actors that I hold to that Oscar-worthy performance ability each time they do a movie, and it's very limited. Jamie Foxx really, to me, is not on that list. So
I think
don't
that
know.
all comes down to the character that you're playing, and I think y'all need to. I think y'all need to go back. So on our next episode, I really think I want to come. I want y'all to come with what makes an Oscar-worthy performance. I want you to specifically say what makes that. For me, because I know this offhand, is are you believable within the context of the movie and the character that you are trying to portray?
That is
He was 100% believable, because if that was me and I was searching for my daughter, I would have been no nonsense the same way he was.
To be honest, the people that usually get nominated for Oscars, majority of the time, correct me if I'm wrong, they usually are method actors. Most of the time.
But see, this is my problem. This is my problem. And this is the bias of the Academy, is that they only put that in dramatic drama movies. Like, those are the only movies that can show that, with the exception of The Dark Knight. And he got that posthumously. So,
but that was very dramatic. That was very dramatic.
And that's my point. He played the character to what it was supposed to be about. And they don't even nominate some of those characters or some of the movies to be in those situations. So you really don't see it. So you have to judge it based on the movie and the character.
Let me say this.
Is it fair to say, though, guys, is it fair to say that Ron, E-Rock, Shay, each one of us has a different way that we look at, quote, an Oscar-winning performance? That's why
I wanted you to explain specifically here's what that was
Specifically, here's the first criteria for me. And this is just me.
Okay.
So it's my opinion, so you can't get mad at it. You can't
debate. Of course. Go ahead.
I'm mad already.
For me, I need to know that I sat there and I couldn't get up. Like, you had me. I didn't fold clothes.
But is that the movie's fault or the actor's fault?
The movie or the actor?
No.
Is that a movie or an actor?
I'm sorry?
Because it sounded like you had a problem with the movie, not the actor.
The actor.
No. You just said something different. You just said something different right now. You just said, for me,
I said for me.
For you.
Are you watching the movie for the movie, the subject of the movie, what's in the movie, or are you watching it for the actor?
Oh, I watch for both. But mainly, I'm watching the movie. But in turn, it coincides together, because a great actor is going to make you get even more into that movie, even more. I'm not saying Jamie did bad. I'm just saying, was it on the level that I was expecting? Because, I mean, when you pop on the Netflix, and the new thing with Netflix is, at least for me, seeing it is like, oh, this is the #2 ranked movie in the country right now. I'm sitting there like, oh, shoot. All right, let's get it going. And I'm looking, I'm like.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I understand where you're coming from in terms of you were in that mood by the movie. And it sounds like you're tilted towards how the movie, affected you versus how the character or a character affected you. So you're saying, based on what you're saying, I may be wrong, but it's very possible that an actor can play the character so well and the movie can still be bad. And those are two different things.
That's always a possibility.
Yeah, those are two different things. Well,
got a movie that happened in Virtuosity with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington made me want to watch that movie, even though it was a terrible movie.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, an Oscar performance, for me, I always focus on the character. If I watch a movie and I see the character and he's believable, that I am convinced that person is no longer Denzel Washington. He's now John Doe or whatever, right? John Q or whatever. And I literally see him as John Q and not Denzel. That's an Oscar performance. It's a believable character. The movie might not be great, but the character is so outstanding. And that's what I meant. Like, Jamie Foxx played the character so well. He was one of the reasons why I gave it a 4.5, as well as Dominic Fishback, is that they played this character so well, and the relationship between the characters were very believable and real, that I felt like that made the movie even better. That movie had a potential, apart from the graphics or the CGI, that movie had a potential to tank. It had a huge potential of going the other way. But the believable of the characters made it such a good movie. Obviously, the plot was
Right.
good.
All right, last word, fellas. Last word. Let's, because we got to move on to the next movie.
Ultimately, for me, did Jamie do a great job? Was Jamie's character believable? Yes. I never said it wasn't. I just said the whole movie. Okay, the whole movie, not just Jamie. And I know I put a big emphasis on Jamie in this movie because it's Jamie. You know, he's the headliner. Let's call it as it is, right? But the whole movie, I just wasn't feeling it. You know, I respected it. It had its parts. I just wasn't feeling it.
All right, and that's the last word on that. All right, next up is the movie called In the Shadow of the Moon. The release date was September 27, 2019. Where you can catch it at is on Netflix. The main actors were Boyd Holbrook, who played the character of Locke, Cleopatra Coleman, that's a heck of a name, who played the character of Raya, and Bokeem Woodbine, who played the character of Maddox. The director was Jim Mickle, and it was on location, was shot in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The setting was 1988, 2006, and 2015 of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So just so that fact is out there, you know that it was shot in Toronto, but the setting was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So the synopsis, it was about a police officer who wants to be a detective. He starts tracking a serial killer who kills their victims in a weird way, only to disappear and return every 9 years. The detective becomes obsessed with catching the killer. As his life goes into shambles, as he gets closer to the truth, it defied reality. All right. Let's go ahead and start out with E-Rock. Let me know what this movie is about.
As I told you, earlier, I actually didn't watch it, but I do have something to say. I heard this movie was trash.
You have nothing to say. I'm going to mute you. We muted him because he didn't know what he was supposed to do. We said next, Rod P. You next. He has no talking privileges. This whole thing, because he didn't do what he's supposed to do.
To E-Rock because I want to hear it. I yield my time to E-Rock.
No, ain't no yield. No, ain't no yield. He can't talk. No, because you're supposed to watch it. I'm sorry, listeners and watchers. We normally do our homework, and for some reason, somebody didn't do their homework, and they were supposed to do their homework.
For pure comedic.
He gonna have to go another time. We'll talk about it later. I want to hear your take, because that's what everybody listening for.
I'm gonna tell you like this. That is 1 hour and 53 minutes of my life that I can't get back.
Why? Why is that?
Because
I
couldn't stand. I didn't like it.
Why? Why didn't you like it, man?
Here's the reason why. All right. It wasn't that. It was.
You typing stuff on the screen. They can see it. Everybody can see it on YouTube.
Hey, listen, any movie with Bokeem Woodbine in it, I watch just because I know he's gonna do. I know he's gonna do one thing that's gonna have me on the floor cracking up laughing. He's always done that. But I'm sitting here and I'm watching this movie, and I'm like,
oh man.
Okay, you got people dying. You got this guy trying to make, detective. You got Bokeem Woodbine just sitting there chilling. I'm like, okay, you got this character who seems to just pop up out of nowhere every 9 years. And it's like, okay, people's getting out of here right and left. And I'm just like, yo, all right, come on, man. What's the point? I couldn't stand it. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't feeling it. I don't know why. I really don't. And I'll be honest with you, listeners. I am even going to go back and rewatch it to see if maybe I was just tripping. But I didn't like anything. The only thing that made me sit up like, whoa, is when one particular character in the movie got off.
The movie was trash.
What E-Rock said. In my opinion, trash.
What?
Overall rating, 2.
All right.
All right. Shazy, Rod is off his game today. I think he is out of his mind.
Man.
But let's go ahead. Shazy, you got the floor, man.
I cannot believe. So I like this movie a lot. I actually watched it last night. So here's the thing. I'll be honest. I watched it late last night, early in the morning, right after Project Power, because I knew I had some assignment to do. So I said, let me watch the first 5 minutes of this movie because it's already 1 a.m. and then I'll catch the rest in the morning before the podcast. And for some reason, I could not stay off the TV once I started watching it. That's how glued I was about this movie. Now, I'm a sucker for sci-fi thriller type movies, so maybe I'm biased in a certain way.
Yeah.
However, the plot was amazing. I felt like the plot made a lot of sense in terms of how they started off showing a time period, 2022 or something like that, 2024. You guys will find out. And they showed like maybe the aftermath of that, and then they went back in time to tell you a story. I thought that was fascinating. Kind of gives you context about the movie. The character played by Boyd was very believable from start to finish. There were a lot of, you would see certain situations about, multiple emotions through different periods of time that she played it very well, not just as a police officer with his partner, but also as a husband and as a father to his daughter. You will see that dynamic and how he played it throughout this period of time. And there are a lot of echoes, of how to be. I'm going to be a dad, God willing, and we're very close. And I felt those emotions with his wife when they had their daughter. Also, as at his workplace, I think about all those type of things. I think that he played that very well. Bokeem Woodbine played. I won't say he did a lot. I don't think he had that much of a role for me to give him a rating. But for what he did, it was very quick, and you'll find out in the movie what I mean by that. And so I think he was okay. But Cleopatra Coleman played an excellent role. She was believable the most with Boyd in terms of those two dynamics. The relationship was there. What I look for in a movie is the relationship between characters. Are they believable? If someone is pretending and it's not carrying the other, or if one is carrying more of the other character too much, you're going to find out it's going to displace the entire movie. So the relationship was beautiful. The plot was great. There was action. If you like sci-fi, if you like action, and if you love Philadelphia, because I've been there, it's a beautiful place. I saw a lot of things. I don't like the Eagles, but I'm a Cowboys fan. But I love the city. I have to admit, it's a beautiful walking city. I've worked there before. Visit Philadelphia from one of your vacation spots. You'll love it. And they had some scenes there where they were showing you some of their, Philly cheesesteak. That was classic.
That was.
Just seeing those things, the director did a very good job of just painting a story of, what the city was. The city in itself was a character on its own, and the characters played it well. So overall, I'll give the movie 4 out of 5. Real. That's the way I saw it. Eric, E-Rock, man.
Okay.
I will admit you make a great point, Shay, about the one female, the female lead.
Cleopatra, yeah.
Yes, she did an outstanding job. I did like her character.
I will say this: they must have convinced you because that was shot in Canada, in Toronto. They did do city shots of Philadelphia, but it primarily the majority of the movie was shot in Canada.
And that's why I
so
said
they
the
convinced you, and I
director,
thought that was the director did a really good job.
the director did a great job of painting the city and the story within the city. Like you would not know until the fun fact, you would not know that was not Philadelphia for the most part when it was. So that was pretty good.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm last but not least. My review for In the Shadow of the Moon is basically what stood out to me was how the movie got right into the action of the storyline and kept you trying to figure out what was going on as the main character was found out more and more information. All right. The movie was dark and gave a great aspect of drama, which made me sympathetic to the deterioration of the main character's life as he obsessed over the case. I find myself feeling sorry for the main character.
Yep.
What I really liked about it was how they divided it up into the every 9 years, which went into the storyline. It made me feel like I was watching a TV series or 3 movies in one. I thought that was really good the way that they did that. Now, the problems I had with the movie is the ending. Okay. It was very anticlimactic. I felt like I was set up for a great conclusion. And although the movie did conclude, I thought it could have been done better. The aspects that took the score down, unfortunately, was because it had way more potential. So I thought it could have done way better towards the end, and it just kind of let me down. And that's probably why the score dropped some. A fun fact though, the device that Raya uses for injecting the isotopes is actually a pneumatic air saw primarily used in the auto body repair industry.
Auto
okay,
industry,
so when you see that in the movie, my listeners and viewers, it's actually a device that we have. They just probably did it up for the movie. So my rating is 3 reels. So it was pretty much right on par. It's a good enough movie to watch. It's not a great movie, but it's definitely a movie. If you don't have anything else to watch, I would definitely watch it. With all of that said, is it worth your time or not? So our average score, since we were down to 3 people, because somebody didn't watch the movie, but they wanted to give advice on it, was a 3. So it gets the golden clock. It is worth your time to go see. I would say watch this when you don't have anything else to do. I'm not telling you to go rush out and watch it, but it definitely is not a boring movie. All right. Now it's time to let you know what television series and shows we need to start watching. So this is our time that we're going to give you a TV show or series that we think you should go watch. You should go check out Run Out right away if you're not already watching it, and get involved in that. And so we're going to start with Eric again. What TV show of the week should everybody be watching?
My pick for TV show of the week, I'm going to go with Breaking Bad.
Okay.
You can find it. I believe it's on Netflix. Yeah, it is on Netflix. Most people probably have seen it or know about it. So I would say just go check it out. It's great. It's won a lot of awards. It's binge worthy, definitely. Got some great acting. You can really relate to the characters in it. And then the main characters, y'all help me with the names. I know the Aaron Paul, and then what's the other guy's name?
It's been a minute since I've seen that.
Bryan Cranston. I think it's Bryan Cranston, something like that. He's like the main character. So if y'all have got time, you can watch a few episodes at a time, but definitely check it out.
All right, check it out. It's won a lot of awards.
Bryan Cranston,
everybody loves it. So make sure that you go ahead and check that out, you guys. Next, Rod, what movie or TV show, I should say TV show or TV series, should everybody be checking out?
Well, mine is, I'm going to go with Sons of Anarchy. Hopefully by now everyone has watched that series, but if you haven't, it will draw you in within the first episode and you will sit there in front of your TV until you've seen every single one. It hits on everything. There's parts that'll make you cry. There are parts that'll make you go, "What are you doing?" It's rare that you see a show that you could almost say has zero flaws. This one, actually, you can actually make the argument that it is truly the perfect show. You can make that argument. So Sons of Anarchy, it's an FX series. So you can find that on FX on demand streams. You can find it on it was on Netflix as well. You can find it on there. And I'm telling you, if you got a week where you're just doing nothing at all, you're chilling, start at episode 1, and I promise you'll watch all the way through. And if you got to go to work, I guarantee you'll either stream it from your phone or you'll try to call off just to finish watching it. It's that good.
All right.
One thing I want to add to that. That's probably what in my top 3 series of all time, to be honest with you. And don't forget, they do have the spinoff, The Mayans.
That's what I'm gonna ask you. Did you see that?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, going forward, y'all, make sure y'all know the information about the movies that y'all watching, because y'all like, I think we trying to figure. I ain't never seen either one of them, so y'all gotta let me know some stuff.
And you slipping?
I ain't slipping. I actually wasn't interested in either one of them.
All right.
Not my cup of tea.
I can tell you right now, I guarantee you, if you start watching Sons of Anarchy, you're gonna be hooked.
Oh, I've seen bits and pieces. My girl, she watched both of them, and I was like,
Oh, you tripping?
But that's just me. I just
I
want y'all to know the
haven't seen it,
information. Y'all need to give us the right information. Y'all be guessing. I don't know.
I just gave it to you.
Are you sure?
I said it's an FX series, and I said you can find it on Netflix, and I said you can find it on FX on demand.
Okay. It sounded like you said you thought that's where it was at.
No, I said I believe it's still on Netflix.
Okay. Well, all right. No, I want you to know.
Man.
You informing us. Go ahead, Shay. Shay Z.
So the series that I'm watching right now that I think is actually a good series to watch, I'm actually watching this with my wife, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I think it's a very
Avatar or Korra?
Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's on Netflix.
We're gonna like Korra then.
Okay, I haven't seen Korra, but it's on Netflix. You can catch that. I think they added that not too long ago on Netflix. It's 3 seasons long and 4 seasons long, and you can see the entire series actually on Netflix right now. It's a pretty good show. I'm not done watching the show, but so far I'm loving it.
Okay. All right. The TV show for the week or TV series I think everybody should check out is P-Valley. Where to watch it at? You can watch it on Stars. It was released in this year, 2020. It is not finished the first season. I believe they're on like episode 6 or 5 or 6. So this is one you can get right in on the ground floor. The TV show follows a woman named Autumn Night, or at least that's the name that we're given as the character, played by Alarica Johnson. That's the name of the actress. As she finds herself trying to start over by becoming a stripper at the Pink nightclub or strip club, where we meet a bunch of characters with their own stories trying to make it in Chucalissa, Mississippi. All right. Now, there's a disclaimer I got to tell everybody. This show is not for kids. I repeat, it is not for kids. It is strictly for adults, and even some adults may not be ready to handle some of this. There is male and female nudity and sex scenes, and I wasn't ready for the gay male sex scene, so that is in there. So I just want to warn you. If I was hurting, watch it. I was like, oh, I wasn't ready for that. But with that said, it's a really good show, and it shows a side of exotic dancing industry that seems authentic. The performers are legit. And this show is even better than a Players Club movie to me because of that authenticity. And stripping is just a backdrop. This show has a larger plot that will keep you hooked. Okay, so I definitely recommend that. Go see P Valley on Stars. All right, next section of our podcast is the oldie but goodie movie. Now let me reinform you about the criteria. It has to be a movie that was released in either the year 2000 or earlier. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and go with E-Rock for his oldie but goodie movie of the week.
All right, my oldie but goodie movie for the week is going to be Mississippi Masala. Washington. All I can say is it's just really a great movie. It kind of focuses on interracial relationships and racism in the South. So definitely check that out. I actually have the Amazon Fire Stick, so the only way I could tell you to access it, if you put it in the search, you can it will come up, and right now you will still have to pay for it. Unless you use another streaming platform where it could possibly you could access that. But right now, if you go on the Amazon Fire Stick and put it in the search, it will pop up, and I think it's like $2.99 to rent. So that's all I got.
All right. Next up, oldie but goodie movie of the week. Rob P, what's your oldie but goodie?
Yo, so my oldie but goodie is a favorite of everybody. I'm going with Coming to America. All right, back in 1988.
Getting ready for part 2, huh?
Exactly, and that's where I was going. December 18th, 2020. Okay, it's supposed to be the release date for Coming to America Part 2. So I'm like, yo, we might as well get refreshed with Coming to America, the first version, and hopefully there's no snags to where Part 2 can be released. You can find Coming to America, right now. Basically, you got your YouTube, Vudu, Amazon Prime, and iTunes. You'll be able to purchase it on there. The most expensive one I saw was like $3.99 to purchase on those streaming services. So, you can check it out on there. But December 18th is supposed to be the day that Come to America Part 2 comes out. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm very excited. And I can't wait to be up in there watching it. More than likely be at my home on my couch watching that.
All right. Shay Z, what's your oldie but goodie movie of the week?
All right, my oldie but goodie movie of the week, it's right on the brink of the cutoff line. It's actually in 2000 when this movie came out, is Love and Basketball. It is a story about two people, Monica and Quincy, how they love and share their interest in basketball together through many of their life challenges and transformation from childhood to adulthood. There's a lot of drama. It's a love story. It's a reflection on different types of relationships. So if you are a fan of love, relationships, and drama, you would actually love this movie. You can actually get this movie for rent right now. It's not telling me where this movie is still a hit as a rental, which is why you're probably not going to see a lot of it.
What is going on up here?
Devices. But yeah, so I would say go ahead and rent that movie as your choice.
All right. Sorry about that. Eric popped in. I think he had some technical difficulties. He like, what happened? But that's all good. So I guess I'm last. My oldie but goodie movie of the week, and I know the reaction I'm about to get from all the guys here because I believe we all saw this movie at the same time when we were in college. Well, actually, it came out before we were in college, but around the time we all saw it was in college. Is Carlito's Way. And the first one, because they had another one which was a prequel, so they do have a part 2 to this. But this movie is available for a rental on all the streaming services. And the year it was released was 1993. It's about a Puerto Rican convict named Carlito that's played by the great Al Pacino, and he was just released from prison to stay, and he tries to stay away from the drug and violent world that got him locked up, but the pressure keeps trying to pull him back in. And that's pretty much how the movie goes. But if you've ever seen this movie, you're in for a treat. Al Pacino returns to the type of roles that made him an icon. In the same vein as Scarface, this movie is great, not only because of the acting, but the way you are on the edge of your seat, wondering if Carlito will make it out alive. All right, so definitely go check that out if you haven't, and if you have, go rewatch it, because it definitely is a movie that's very suspenseful and just very, very thought-provoking. That's pretty much it for this aspect of the podcast. We're going to go on to our random-ish, and we're going to bring up our first topic. Our first topic is Shay Z is going to go ahead and lead that discussion. What are we going to talk about today, Shay Z?
So we are going to talk about Kamala Harris being elected as the Vice President. She just received her nomination this week as the Vice Presidential candidate for to support Biden in his campaign for presidency. And what we've been noticing is that she is listed as the first African-American woman, as well as the first Asian-American or South Asian-American woman to be elected as vice president. And one of the issues that we're seeing is there is a conversation that's going on online about how she is being received. Is she Black? Is she Asian American? Or is she both? Who does she resort to? She spent some time in Asia, overseas while she was growing up. Her parents divorced while she was young, and she went on to live with her mom, not just in the U.S., but also overseas. Came back and returned to college or returned to school here, and she actually went to an HBC school, historical Black college, and that was where she claimed that she found her Blackness or her identity as a Black woman. But over time,
you didn't say the name of the school, Shay. Howard University. Shout out to Howard.
Shout out to Howard University. Yeah. Howard University, my bad. So yeah, she went to Howard University, and she also mentioned that was where she found her identity as a Black woman. I guess what we're noticing now is she is putting out there that she doesn't want to alienate her mom's side of the family, which is why she is also being spoken up as the first, Asian American to be on the ticket, but doesn't want to be spoken against her Blackness or being Black from her dad's side of the family, because her dad is Jamaican, a Black Jamaican. So there is this conversation that's going on today that, well, is she Black or is she Asian or is she both? The crowd is pulling, there's a tug and pull between the two. And in some cases, some members of the Black community are saying that she's not Black enough. We heard echoes of this when Obama was running for president, and his mom was white, father's Kenyan. Oh, he's not Black enough, and we're seeing that again in Kamala Harris. And I just wanted to get your point of view in what should she refer herself to, and if we're going to accept her as Black. From my standpoint, the way I see it, if you have any ounce of Blackness in you, you're Black. Doesn't matter where you're from. But people see it differently. So that's the conversation that we're having. And what I'm noticing in the last 8 to 12 years is the real Blacks are not well represented in the political scene, especially for president and now vice president. So if that's the case, can we address that? How should we look at that? For me, I see both Barack Obama and Kamala Harris as black, even though they have Asian, even though she has Asian ties and he has, white ties to his lineage. But I still see them as black because, for me, black means white people are not going to accept them as white, even if they try to be white. So if they're not being accepted, then they're already what we would call them as black, not just by their identity or their skin tone or their DNA, but also culture-wise. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think we get caught up too much in identity politics. It really doesn't matter because it's about your policies. And if you got whack policies, you don't deserve to be in the position you in. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, blue, it doesn't matter to me. But under these circumstances, with someone like Donald Trump being in office and knowing that he is definitely way worse, I am sensible and logical. I'm not going to be, and this is what I can't stand about my community, when it's one of our own that comes into a position of power, we get super critical. We want them to be more, or we set them to such a higher standard than we would if that was a white woman that was in this position, and she would be the first or the second white woman VP nomination. Under these circumstances, we scrutinize them more, and that makes me very mad because the things that we're scrutinizing may have some legitimacy, but when you take into the bigger picture that we have such a bad president, you have to take some good with the bad. You have to take some bad with the good. No one's going to be perfect. We understand that, and because we're the voter and because we have a representative government, we can also put pressure on that person to change some of their stances, such as how Barack Obama changed his stance on gay marriage. The reason why was because that particular lobby got so powerful, they put so much money into it that you had to change it. So guess what? As black people, we need to band together, pool our money together, and force them, because the only thing they're going to listen to is money. We have to pool our money together and then lobby them to fight for some of these issues. Now, there are some issues that I agree with her on. There's some stuff I do not agree with her on. There's some stuff she's already, at least in word, she's changed her stance on. I'm a big proponent of healthcare, universal healthcare. If you are not talking that, I'm going to have a problem with you. But I also look at the landscape and who is closer to my position. I'm not expecting everybody to be exactly on my position, but who's closer to my position. So I love the fact that she is the first Asian American, first Black American VP candidate. And I think I'm not saying we should not look at that. I think we should embrace her, but also understand that this is the dichotomy that we have with people who are mixed race. The people that they're representing more than just one community. So as Black people, we can still embrace her, and the Indian people can embrace her as well. We can have both. It's not either or. A lot of the times in this country, we're both minorities, so we should all band together anyway. And she's also Greek. She's a soror. She's in the fam. She's the sister sorority to my fraternity that I'm a part of, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. She's a AKA, and I love that about her. So that automatically gives her a basis of what principles I know she pledged on in her upbringing, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with how she sees the world and fighting for equal rights for our community as well. But I don't want to just to answer your question, I don't like when we get caught up in the identity politics. I don't care that she's I care that she's a Black woman, but I don't care. I want her policies to shine out more than the identity, but I don't deny the identity because I believe that your identity speaks to or influences your policy decisions. You will care more if you were already poor at one time. Like Cori Bush in Missouri, she was poor, she was homeless. When you have that perspective, you tend to fight for things from that that community more because you have that perspective. So I think it influences her decisions, and I think it matters, but I don't think it's 100% what we should look at. So that's my take
Rod,
on that.
Rod P. By the way, Rod, my wife says happy birthday, happy belated.
Oh yeah, man, we
Sorry,
should have
I
started
said
the show off like that. Happy birthday, man. How old you turning? You want to tell everybody? You want to tell
I'm
everybody how old
21.
you, how young you are?
I'm
There it is.
21.
There it
21.
is. He that grown man, 21. There it is.
Yep. 21.
Man,
So,
I forgot, man. We gotta start that. I gotta edit this around or something and put this at the beginning of the show. Happy birthday,
Yeah.
man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You know, I'm truly blessed to still be here, and you know, I don't take days for granted, man. And it's a blessing just to be able to still be here and to do this with you guys, my brothers, and to just be able to wake up, you know, and still be able to say thank you, Lord, for giving me another day, another opportunity to impact the world, to help someone in need, to do something great. So, you know, I always, you know, take that serious, you know, especially now having dealt with COVID and how that really impacted myself personally, my family members as well. You know, I really thank God that I'm still here, you know. So yeah, man, 42. I'm 42, and you know, still feel like I can get out there and wrestle with these young boys, but I ain't gonna try. So, but
All right.
you know, in terms of Kamala, you know, I understand what you mean by that, Ron, and I kind of feel what you're saying in terms of identity politics, the look of someone. But I think that, and this is just me personally, I think it does mean something. I think it means a whole lot. You know, as a father of daughters, 6 daughters, and, you know, I think 6 young, impressionable daughters at that, you know, I think it's important that they see someone who resembles them in a position of authority, to let them kind of know, like, hey, look, this could be you. If you do it the right way, this could be you, if that's what you want and that's the path you want to go on. Now, the big thing is, and what I truly feel in my heart of hearts is, I'm with you 100% on your stance, Ron, of we as a people, as Blacks, you know, we kind of got to chill with holding, you know, our people to a higher standard than what we would their white counterpart. It's like, yo, you can't, you know, when President Obama got in office, it was crazy how people just thought he was going to be able to just snap his fingers and change the whole landscape for Black people. And it was like, yo, we didn't do our job as our Black community. We did half the job. We did half the job. We got him in office, but we didn't get the congressman that was needed, senators, all that. We didn't do that. And so it was like, oh, it became real easy to say, Barack ain't done nothing for Black folk. I hear that all the time with certain individuals that I no longer speak to, because I feel like they're ignorant to the whole fact. But I think the big thing is, you know, her impact of which we could, you know, I look at this thing and I see the impact that she can have for years to come. It's like, in all honesty, I feel like we could see a run of maybe potentially 20 to 28 years of having a minority running the White House. We have that potential. In most cases, the vice president ends up being the party's front runner. So what we're looking at here is if Biden is fortunate enough to get in, if he's voted in, and let's say he does 2 terms, we're looking at potentially seeing a Kamala Harris as the Democratic Party front runner, their nominee, which means she then has the impact to bring on another woman vice president, another black male as a vice president, which I like Cory Booker, and I was like, yo, I would like to see a Cory Booker Harris ticket. I initially thought of that, and it's like we could potentially see impact, but we got to do our part too. Number one, don't hold this sister to a higher standard than what you would of Sarah Palin. Don't give Sarah Palin passes on all this bull, but hold Kamala to a standard that's like unattainable. She's not Jesus. She's not God. She has flaws, just like everybody else. And it's up to us to recognize that. Now, if she gets in and she's with Biden and you don't like their policies, like you said, Ron, if you don't like their policies, guess what? In this country, we're blessed enough that we can do one thing to change that. Go vote them out then. When Donald Trump got elected, I said, there's nothing we could do about it. First thing I said is, no, instead of complaining, let's see what he's going to do. You don't like what he does? Get to the polls and vote him out then. Just like any person else, anybody else. You don't like what they're going to do? Vote them out. But don't sit on the sidelines. Don't be the guy sitting on the sidelines with your helmet talking about what you would do if you was in the game. And then when you get the opportunity to play, you fumble the ball.
I would even say that, and I agree with what you're saying. I would say, and let me just even plug this in for all my Black brothers and sisters out there, those of you that are listening to this, please go out and vote. Do some research on your local community, your local candidates.
Absolutely.
Find out what it means to you. And if you've not done the census yet, please do the census, because that brings in more value to you for your community. You still have time to do the census. Do the census, vote at the local level, at the state level, and then the national level. With that being said, I think what we as a Black community need to understand, when we see people like Barack Obama or Kamala Harris come to office, or at least potentially both come to office like Kamala is about to do, we should not try to dissect how much or how Black she is or how Black she isn't. And that goes also to the other side of the, because when you look at white people that have run and ruled this country for so long, they have dialects. I mean, they have different ethnicities as well. But you never see the German side of the white people say, oh, he or she is not German enough to be the president or vice president of the United States. So we are the only group of people that try to dissect that so much, or he's not Black enough or she's not Black enough. And we need to just embrace that.
And you know why that is? But and here's why that's the case, that we do that dissecting, because we're not used to having. So when we finally get something, we don't know how to act.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's just what it is, because we've been so conditioned not to have, that when we finally get something, we don't know how to act. And we have to do better at that. We need to get back. And I'm not just saying this, man. I don't care who anybody votes for. I think, me personally, I think you're a fool if you put Trump back in there. But as long as you get out and vote, cool. Because I refuse to sit and debate and talk with you if you ain't vote. If you don't vote, you have zero room to complain, to talk about. If you don't do your census, you have zero room to complain and talk about anything going on locally. And here's the thing, families, if those, especially single women with children, sisters, let me tell you something. I'm gonna just say this. You have zero right to complain about anything involving after school programs, daycares, any of that, if you don't do your census. That is how you get funds. That is how your local what they call Boys and Girls Clubs, your local YMCAs, your local YWCAs, places like that, That is how they're able to get extra funds to keep their doors open for childcare.
Right.
So it's like, yo, make sure you fill out your census. It don't take that long. You can do that online. I did mine online, and it literally took me less than 5 minutes. And I see the census people walking around in my neighborhood, and they skip over me because they know I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so it's like, yo, do your part. You can't complain if you don't do your part.
That's the message, man. All right, Ron, take it over.
All right. That's all we got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. So tune in next week. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe button. It's free, costs you nothing. Tell everyone about the podcast and purchase some of our gear. I think that support will be greatly appreciated. And fellas, you got any final thoughts?
For me, I think that, you know, this is a very important year for all of us. Times are changing. What I would ask everyone to do is, before you just make a move, stop and pause and think about that move before you make it. Just make sure that you're doing everything in your power to stay safe, and keep your families and your children safe. Wear your mask. It's not over. I know everybody's getting back to ripping and running around. It's not over. It's not over. Hand sanitizer, wear your mask, social distance, be safe, and be blessed.
Amen to that. All right. With all of that said, until next time, enjoy your life while you're here and watch movies and random. Shut your mouth. Peace. See you next time. Thanks again for tuning in to this week's show. If you want to contact us, you can hit us up at moviesrandoms2020@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at movies_randoms1. You can follow us on Instagram at random1sh and Facebook at movies, the ampersand sign, random1sh. Once again, we'll see you next week.